Let's jump a little bit to nonprofit cloud. And Vivi's our resident nonprofit expert. She just wrapped up a couple big projects with National Kidney Foundation, and she went into the show going, "Okay, let me learn more on the nonprofit space." So you saw some interesting things there. Why don't you tell us about them?
All right. Yeah, so I'll start with the nonprofit keynote session. So the theme there was AI for good. And that was about, the emphasis there was about taking nonprofit org's mission to a next level. So it was, there's always, from all the sessions that I've participated, I've attended, the challenges there, they're also around the workload and resource constraints with nonprofit orgs. So they had these demonstrations, and they emphasized that AI is coming, Einstein and AI, they are coming to solve to alleviate on those challenges that nonprofit orgs have. So again, emphasis there was about great AI starts with great data. So it was mentioned that getting a unified view of your constituent, this is really paramount. So and then I'll link back to Data Cloud, because in some of the demonstrations and some of the cases of nonprofit orgs, they said that through this journey of implementing nonprofit cloud or even migrating, they are using Data Cloud as their basis. So there was, as I was saying, there were all these demonstrations. So there were two demos during the nonprofit keynote. One was for showing AI being applied for fundraising, and another one for program management. The interesting thing was that, like, for fundraising, they presented this donor summary, and with all the insights and likelihood of that donor becoming like a major one. So there were all these insights and predictions. And then real time there, they created a major donor proposal. So they crafted like a personalized email with this major donor proposal. The interesting thing there was that it was not, and they even had a slide showing that they could have created a donor proposal with a generic LLM. Whereas doing that within Salesforce, this means that you have your business context and you're personalized, you have it personalized, being created upon your own data.
And secure. You're not exposing that data out to some other LLM. Yeah.
That's a very good point, Tim. Very good point. Also, they had this demonstration for, applying AI for program management. So they showed this constituent that was likely to cut short on a program. So there was like a program attrition rate there, and they were able to create with Einstein AI, they were able to create an action plan with like the best course of actions to re-engage that program participant. It was very neat to see that. And they also had different summarizations there on programs, on the donor information. So it was very neat to see those use cases. They also had a representative of an UK nonprofit org called FairShare. They fight hunger and they tackle food waste. They had very impressive numbers there. But the interesting thing that I wanted to call out here from their use case was that they indeed used Data Cloud. They had over 40 different data sources. And so they were emphatic about that. They were also emphatic about having buy-in from the organization and having like strong stakeholder engagement, like a solid, really solid change management process and practice being put in place to incentivize people to adopt the new technology. Otherwise, they said that without this strong buy-in, they wouldn't have made it. And also they were emphatic about engaging a Salesforce partner along the journey. So this is good to hear, right, Jim?
Well, I think both of those things, they were talking about it in the context of nonprofit, but what I'm seeing is so much of what Salesforce is doing in nonprofit is taking their experiences from for-profit businesses and saying, how do they tweak them a little bit to help the nonprofit sector. And that, those two examples there apply everywhere, not just nonprofits.
Very nice. And they also, I mean, the last announcement there, and I mean, very important one, was that there is the intention to build the volunteer management feature with NPC.
Yeah, that was a big
Said that
announcement.
it's in early days, but it's coming strong. So very good news about that. Then, I mean, linking to the Nonprofit Cloud Roadmap session. So I was able to attend that one as well. So innovations for nonprofits, it's coming now in October in beta. So they called it Einstein for Nonprofits. So it's about using generative AI to help manage all the workload. As I was speaking, it's about, I mean, alleviating this resource constraint that normally, I mean, we all face that, right? But especially with nonprofit organizations. And some of the use cases there that they exemplified with were for programs and benefit summaries. As I mentioned, that they presented that real time during the keynote session. So there are note summaries. So they summarize conversations. The donor engagement summary was another one. The gift proposal generation that they also did that real time during the keynote session. So this is all coming as they call it as Einstein for Nonprofit Cloud beta in October. I mean, upcoming.
There's a lot of new stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And then generally available in winter 25. They mentioned Tableau Einstein for fundraising. So it's about having all these actionable analytics that are being built natively. They exemplified with 3 big fundraising dashboards out of the box. So donor behavior, donation trends, and campaign effectiveness. Also with fundraising operations, also generally available on winter 25. So they talk about enhancing address management with multiple addresses, gifts attribution and enhancement. They want to track who influenced a gift. And there are also enhancements in receipting. So marking transactions as having been sent a tax receipt upon.
Yeah. So all things, if you think about like an e-commerce model, it's the same type of thing, but they're just translating that over and applying it into nonprofit.
Nonprofit, right. And providers management, they also said that, I mean, intention here is to keep track of all external services provider that nonprofit partners work with, and creating referrals on these service providers. And then they mentioned on the far future, but I still understand that this is coming, this is starting, I mean, next year. This is about engaging volunteers with launching this new solution for volunteering management. So they say that this is coming with a new data model for like project creation, skills matching, shifts and hours tracking of volunteers. They mentioned about a volunteer app and a volunteer portal. So this is really interesting. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, well, I can imagine not all, but a lot of nonprofits are very volunteer centric. So they're probably clamoring for that, and so Salesforce is saying, okay, we need to find a way to manage it. And the good news is we already have all those people identifying contacts, and we're tracking engagements with them, but we don't have a way to manage that very well.
Right. Yeah. You're right there, right on spot, Jim. Also, they mentioned about some other enhancements with program intelligence, with tracking outcome and having analytics upon that, case management enhancements, and grant making enhancements. So guys, this was about the roadmap. Now, there was one, so last here, not least, I went to a session that was named, I have NPSP and I want nonprofit cloud. Now what? So the title really caught my attention. And it was a very nice session because they demystified a lot in terms of, these frequently asked questions about, do we need to migrate? Is NPSP going away or not? So all around that. So the first question that they answered was exactly that one. Is NPSP going away? And they were emphatic, saying no, there are no plans to have NPSP end of life. Now, the next question was, is NPSP getting investment? And then they said yes and no. So yes for, that was a good one. So yes for bug fixes and maintenance. Yes for investments upon sales and service cloud. but no for anything that is nonprofit purpose-built features. Meaning this, I mean, they are, focusing all their efforts on top of nonprofit cloud, no longer on MPSP. And then there was this third
So,
question.
so before you jump off that, what is the message you hear there? Because I heard something, and I want to see if you're thinking the same thing. Like, what do you think they're trying? What does Salesforce want people to do? I guess here, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I put you on
Oh,
the spot there. Yeah, my take is they want nonprofits going over to nonprofit cloud, and they're charging for that. NPSP is remaining a free standalone service, so they're saying we want to be able to give back to the community. We want to be able to support these smaller nonprofits. Let's find a way to do that. Well, not sure how I stopped doing that, but they want to make sure that there's an opportunity to serve and provide to the community. But if they're larger organizations, they really want you over on nonprofit cloud. That's what
right.
I heard. They didn't
Yeah.
say it that directly, but I think that's what
No,
they're
no.
trying to do.
I think that this is the message overall, Jim, because basically they are saying all the innovation is gonna go on top of nonprofit cloud. So
Exactly.
wanna be coming and being on top of all that is new and that we are launching, you should migrate in a sense. Now,
Now
they
we're
if
getting close to
asked,
time, so we need to move
oh,
on as I
okay,
go ahead.
I
So
will.
if you got a real hot one, hit it.
I'm almost there. And then they replied to the question, do I have to migrate? And then, Jim, they said, no, you just should, you should just migrate when it's right for you, your org, and on your own time. Basically because they were very, they really they were really emphatic about the fact that this is not an upgrade. This is a full implementation project. So this is about a new Salesforce org, and they strongly recommended a partner to be engaged. And they were strong about saying we are talking about a new architecture, new data model. Your staff will need to go through this learning curve, and you need to plan for change management.
Yep,
So there's not a
it's
magic
really a
bullet.
data migration and a stand up of a new environment, not,
Right.
yeah, it's not an upgrade per se.
Right. And last not least, Jim, I'm almost there. So I just wanted to mention the nonprofit cloud migration guide. So I accessed this documentation. It is a 115-page document with all the differences there in terms of the data model and all the data mapping that you should go through. Other hints and best practices. So there's a lot being documented there. But overall, this is not an easy overnight process. So that was the main message.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that, overall, this is what I wanted to share about nonprofit
Yeah,
announcement.
a lot going on. It's exciting to see their commitment over the last couple of years in that sector. They recognize there's business there and there's a way to do good. And it's great as a partner to be helping organizations that are nonprofits and are doing good things for the community because it makes us feel good about what we're doing too.